I would. I'd go back and forth till I found the music. We followed. What? What? We followed the music all the way to Miami, and I landed and among the palm trees. And Robert, it was a camera bug. There's pretty girls around his shorts, and he'd been up there in the snow for months. He started taking those pretty girls' pictures, and I must say, on the way down, going across South Georgia, we went over this area. No sawmills, no roads, no houses, no towns, no nothing as far as you could see. And I got on the other side, North Florida, and landed and said, "What was that back there?" I come across it. "You went across the Okefenokee Swamp?" And I looked at my map and said, "Do not fly across this." I was following the music, you know.
Uh-huh.
It really Keystone Cops in the air.
God heavens.
Like one time I landed at a little airstrip for gas and taxied up to the Lonely Pump, and a guy like Wallace Berry in overalls come out, got out a little set of steps and stood up on putting gas in the top of my wing tank and said, "First downwind landing I've seen in a long time." You're not supposed to land downwind. You always land upwind. It shortens your ride. If you land downwind, the wind will carry you further. You get in the trees. He said, first downwind landing I've seen in a long time.
She just didn't even
So
know
I mean,
what
I'm
you
talking
were-
Keystone Cops talk. So we got back to Pennington easy enough. And then next morning we got up to fly him back home to Woodway.
You mean what's it?
And it was quite overcast, but high
Indiana.
clouds.
Indiana, you mean?
No,
Indiana.
Woodway was going to Woodway to fly back to Indiana.
Oh. Okay.
Woodway is where I kept my airplane. And I looked there and I looked at my map, looked at the clouds. Any fool would not have flown that day. But I also wanted to fly. And there were high clouds. And I tuned in on the radio and said, "Weather front coming in, the clouds such and such, weather front about 50 miles wide, soon be passed." And I had flown through rainstorms before. They're usually 4 to 10 miles wide, and it didn't affect my engine. I'd fly in the rain and come out the other side.
But you were not instrument rated to fly.
No, I couldn't fly in clouds or anything. If you get into a cloud, you can't tell how you are.
Well, that's what killed that Kennedy.
I did that once and almost died.
Remember John Kennedy?
Oh, yeah.
So I decided we'd take off. We took off, and storm crowd's coming. I said, "Boys, these rain sails are usually," Frank was in the back, cousin Robert here. "These rain sails are 4 to 10 miles wide. We'll soon be on the other side." Plunged into the rain. Well, the clouds began to drop, and I'd drop. It dropped and I'd drop. Here's mountain peaks. Find down. And finally, I'm dodging mountain peaks and can't get up. And it was terrible, terrifying. Dodging mountain peaks and trapped. And then fog began forming. You know, I could always get down, crash land somewhere. But then fog began forming in the valleys. So fog below, clouds above, peaks. I'm in a terrible situation. And you add up 2 plus 2 equals 5. I said, "We're going to have to sit down." And Robert said, a very nervous laugh.
That sounds
So
like
I saw a
one.
green patch. I went down and looked at it, and it was tall corn, 10 feet tall. I could have been okay, I'd have survived, but the flying corn would have torn the paint off my airplane and broke the lights and everything. I zoomed back up and dodging these peaks, and over here's another nice little green thing. And I went down and looked at it, it looked good. I'd come around, looked at it again, looked good, come around, and I'd come in. And come in low up the river to the bank, climbed up the bank, plop. And you should hit and roll some. And we just went squish,
Now you're stuck.
silence. It was a rice paddy, freshly disharrowed and plowed and rained on for 2 weeks. It was a bog, and my wheels would suck. And it should have flipped me over and over and over. But I had Fat Frank in the back. He was behind the wheels. And his weight behind the wheels kept it from flying over. and I cut off that engine,